Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide back to sports history and the stories behind them. Every day, when you ask any sports fan, or even an everyday person that's not a big sports fan at all, what the biggest rivalry in all of sports is, you're likely to hear the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. But this deep-seated rivalry didn't just appear overnight. In fact, it goes back over 100 years, filled with iconic moments and heated animosity. The New York Yankees, often considered the most storied franchise in North American sports, have an impressive history of 27 championships. Since their founding in the early 1900s, they seem to win in almost every decade since the 1920s, which naturally makes them easy to love and hate. On the other side, the Boston Red Sox are pretty historic themselves, with 9 World Series championships since their formation in 1901. But how did the rivalry really begin? The unofficial start of this historic rivalry began in 1920, when the Boston Red Sox owner, Harry Frazee, fresh off his 1918 championship, made a fateful decision. He sold legendary George Herman Ruth, better known as Babe Ruth, to the New York Yankees for $125,000 and a loan over $300,000 to support a Broadway play. This moment marked a turning point in baseball history. Babe Ruth, a name synonymous with greatness in the world of baseball, was undoubtedly one of the sport's brightest stars at the time. He may have not been as lethal of a hitter during his time with the Red Sox as he would be with the Yankees, but his stardom was undeniable. So why would a team trade the best player right after a championship? Many speculate it was due to financial troubles that the owner of the Boston Red Sox was having due to his failures on Broadway. But there's more to the story. At the beginning of the 1900s, baseball was starting to get very political, with the owners and the commissioner of baseball. And Boston Red Sox owner had an issue with Ben Johnson, the commissioner of baseball at the time. The disagreement set off a chain of events for this historic trade. Tensions between Frazee and Johnson ran high, from umpire controversies to scheduling issues, and even the threat of seizing control of the league. The situation had reached a boiling point. But Frazee was not the only one with grievances with the commissioner. The New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox had their own separate issues with the commissioner. Headlines in the New York Times declared declaration of war on Frazee and threatened to erupt the league. The standoff continued, and Frazee had a strategic move, selling some minor league players to the New York Yankees, effectively forming an alliance against Johnson, while strengthening both clubs. As the drama unfolded, the Boston Red Sox appeared strong at the start of the 1919 season. However, Ruth had become growingly dissatisfied with his salary. He demanded a significant pay raise, and the tensions back and forth ensued. It seemed likely a trade was imminent. Surprisingly, weeks after negotiations, Ruth and Frazee finally reached a 3-year, $30,000 deal. The 1919 season began well for both sides, but there was an issue brewing. It revolved around whether Ruth was more effective as a pitcher or a hitter. The Red Sox believed he was a better pitcher, while Ruth, with his incredible power, insisted he was a better batter. This debate, combined with managerial issues and a losing season, strained the relationship between Ruth and the Red Sox. Even so, Ruth was still a sensation in the 1919 season, drawing fans to Fenway Park, all by himself, even though the team around him began to decline. In the midst of all this conflict and losing, Ruth set record numbers in the 1919 season and demanded another pay raise. He knew he was the center of the baseball world, not just Boston. However, the Red Sox attendance had dropped, and Frazee did not have the money to continue dealing with Ruth's demands. And Farsee's continued battle with the commissioner and challenges with Ruth led him to give up and sell Ruth to the New York Yankees, as he had had enough with baseball and was ready to move more into theater. This didn't only change the Boston Red Sox fate, who now had the curse of the Bambino over their heads, which caused them to lose in dramatic fashion throughout the years, until 2004, when they finally won another World Series, ending an 84-year drought. For the Yankees, this started a tradition of winning for them, and giving them a murderer's row as it was in the 20s, and allowing Ruth to focus on hitting, where it became one of the most historic hitters of all time. Without this trade, the baseball world would have been very different. It is a pivotal moment in baseball history we can never forget about, and started a rivalry that will stand the test of all time. Thank you for listening to Daily Sports History. If you want to see more pictures of George as a Yankee and a Red Sox, check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And come back tomorrow for more sports history.